All right, everybody, welcome to this episode of Semi-Pro. I am Dalton Barrett. Joining me today are Daniel Savage and Joshua Clements, as today we, for whatever reason, decided to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. All right, so we're watching Turtles in Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. What is everybody's predictions? Because we all left pretty disappointed in Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Oh no, hold on, the intro music, it's repeating itself again. Oh no! All right, I stopped it. My fault.
All right. I've got a kind of out there prediction that I just want you guys to bear with me on this. So I have a feeling, and I have no basis on this whatsoever, but something tells me that the Turtles just might be in time. Right. I don't know. Like it's kind of crazy, but I feel like it's so crazy it just might work.
What's really interesting about the title Turtles in Time, the title in a trench coat, is that was not actually the title of the movie. Like it never was.
I mean,
but
it is. Because our friend Bob and Colin has a copy on DVD.
I was getting there. If you'd let me. So the movie was released just as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. There was a video game that came out before it that's a tie-in with the cartoon called Turtles in Time, and people just started calling the movie Turtles in Time. So the studio, in like a DVD re-release in like 2003, just renamed the movie, and it stuck, which is super interesting. But yeah, when we watch this, it will not say Turtles in Time unless they change that for the release that we're watching.
They probably did.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think they had enough energy to look at Turtles 3 and say, we're going to change the title in the movie.
They treated it like a radiation leak. They sent one guy in and he was covered head to toe in uniforms. And they're like, you need to get in there. You need to add Turtles in Time to the opening screen. And by the time he came out, his eyes had melted out of his sockets.
By the time he came out, he was dead.
Right.
He looked like one of the guys at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I don't have high expectations for this movie because Turtles 2 was horrible. As a kid, I remember I saw all three of these when I was a little kid, but only like once or twice because they never aired this one on TV. They would always air the first two back to back on TV, not this one. And this one, I remember even as a kid watching this one, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like this," even as like a small child. Whereas the other two, I really liked the first one. It was my favorite. I liked the second one, and then I did not like this one as a 6-year-old. So I'm not looking forward to it.
See, I would say that my brain is slightly below that of the average 6-year-old, so I think it's possible I may enjoy this movie.
I don't know.
But we'll see, I guess.
I know nothing about this movie other than one.
You've seen this one, haven't you? Though.
No.
I guess it's just Dalton and Bobbin that have seen it.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen.
Right.
I've only ever seen
Item's the one who enjoys it. That's
yeah.
Right. That's also why I think I might like it. No, see, Item liking it gives me hope.
Item likes Tasm too. Item doesn't like Tasm too.
Right. When we watched TASM 2 for it's a shitty movie, but I enjoyed watching it.
That's true. Yeah,
I wasn't as miserable as I had expected, and had as horrible as I'd built it up in my head.
Yeah. I wasn't as miserable as I was when I watched Turtles 2.
Right. Now that is true. Yeah, I at least stayed all the way through TASM 2,
which is interesting because I think Turtles 2 is probably a better movie than I don't know. Who cares?
I mean, it's better made,
I don't know about that. Actually, it's
more
pretty
coherently made, I should say. It's coherent. It's just
Turtles. You think Turtles 2 is more coherent than TASM?
Turtles 2 at least made sense.
Well, yeah,
it was boring. The worst thing Turtles 2 did was be boring.
the scenes in Turtles 2 at least linked to each other in some way.
Correct.
I mean,
All right.
the scenes in TASM 2, they're just
We're talking too much about TASM 2.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna watch Turtles in Time. We'll be back after it's over to talk just a little more about it on this episode.
It's gonna be a little bore.
It's gonna be a little bore on this episode of Semi Pro. So when we come back, Turtles 3 will have been watched, and we will be ready to talk about it.
We're back.
All right, that was we watched it. We watched Turtles 3, and wow, honestly,
Yeah.
wow.
It is certainly the second best Turtles movie from the 1990s.
It is certainly one of the 3 live-action Turtles movies to come out in the time
Early
between the
1990s.
80s and 2000.
Early
Between 1990
1990s.
and 1993.
Yeah.
They made these
Between
movies over the course of 2 years. What's really interesting, well, I guess over the course of 4 years. One
Between
did not come out in
1920 and
91.
2000.
Oh, did it? When did one come out? Was it late 80s?
One came out in...
No, it was 90.
It was 90. Nothing came out in
yeah.
91.
Oh,
92
okay,
was
there
Secret
was-
of the Ooze,
yeah,
and
4
93 was
years,
this,
right.
which explains why this movie looks like the cheapest thing that's ever been put to film.
I forget that 93 isn't 3 years after.
Yeah, it really trips
90.
me up.
It doesn't make sense. Like,
It
should
doesn't
be, right?
Yeah. Well, that means
90
it's
and 3,
been...
like
Well, no, but one...
I don't know how time works.
That means it's been 4 years.
I still think of the 90s as like 10 years ago, if I'm being real.
Right, and I wasn't born until 99.
I wasn't born until 2001. I was not alive in the 90s.
Ah!
I think
All right.
me and
this
Dalton
movie.
were alive for about six months in the 90s. So
Yeah.
yeah, we basically, we're 90s.
Right,
kids.
you're 90s babies, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up on the Ninja Turtles.
Right.
So this movie is interesting.
It's a movie, that's for sure.
I wanna
it
do
is
the-
very interesting.
I want to do the breakdown a little different because
Okay.
I want us to end with the plot breakdown. But I want us to, kind of talk through the negatives first, and then we'll try to stick to
Alright.
positives during the plot breakdown. The turtles look
Okay.
horrible.
Turtles look so bad. They have these horrible dark circles that are eye holes under their eyes.
Oh,
They
especially when they're
obvious.
fighting.
Yeah.
When they're fighting, it's like there's supposed to be little slits under their masks, and you can see them the whole movie, but the fighting mask, they're so big.
And I don't know if it's just.
the turtles
Sorry, go
also
ahead, Josh.
the suit textures have changed, so it all looks like rubber.
Yeah.
So you just see these giant
But
pieces
if
of rubber
If
that
by
have holes
changed
in
you
them.
mean the textures have been completely removed from the suit?
They've
have no
changed and
textures.
that have this.
They just have mold spots on
It
them.
looks like the Flash suit from the new Flash
they-
movie.
They
right.
were,
Yeah.
they're actually the same suits as the first one, but because they were covered in mold and hidden in a large fire, it looks just a tiny bit worse.
Yeah.
The animatronics of the mouth do not move properly.
Yeah. No.
It's
They also, I don't know if it's that. Well, it's that the voices all sound off, even though, all of them all of them other than Raph were the same.
Donnie and
I know
Raph.
at least Corey. I thought it was
No.
Donnie, Leo, and Mikey.
Maybe Donnie
It was at least Donnie and Leo. That's what Josh said.
maybe
Josh,
Donnie.
care
Maybe
to comment.
maybe Donnie and
I
Leo
was trying.
stayed.
I was trying to find. The,
I feel like I
the
remember
cast
him
again.
saying. I don't know if it was true.
So Donnie is Corey Feldman. So he
Yeah.
returned from the first.
I remember that much.
Which
It
Leonardo
doesn't sound
was-
like it. It sounds like Corey Feldman phoning it in. It's
well,
like it sounds.
Corey
It sounds.
Feldman,
Yeah.
he came back and he was just out of rehab, I think, and he was like,
Mm.
"I'll do it, but I want double what I got for the first Turtles movie." And they went, "No,
No.
but you're also just out of rehab, so I know you're not getting any roles, so you're gonna do it anyway." And he was like, "Yeah, fine."
So
Which is why
was
he
he
phoned
not
it.
in the second one?
No, he was not in
No,
the
he was-
second one.
He was
Gotcha.
probably
Okay,
in rehab.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because
was in
it came.
rehab
This
doing
movie came out a year after the 2nd one. So
that.
Yeah.
So he returns from the first one, and Leonardo is voiced by the same guy that voiced him in the first one, and he
Yeah.
also sounds worse.
and he was in
also
all
say-
three. Leo is the only
Yeah.
holdover from all three movies.
Mhm. You also
Raph-
said Mikey was, or what movie was Raph?
I know Raph was a different actor from in all three.
No, I was gonna say Raph was
Raph might be the same in this as the second one, just phoning it in more, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's Raph's a different guy from the
That's
second
what
one.
I thought.
Okay.
Michelangelo was also the same from 1 to 3,
which does not sound the same.
Yeah, none of this comes across. They all sound like different voice actors.
Correct.
I also just want to say the guy who voiced Michelangelo is called Robbie Rist, and I keep reading it as Robbie Riz, and I need to stop myself.
Another thing that's a problem is this has sort of the same problem that 2 has, but maybe even a little worse, where all of the turtles just kind of feel like Michelangelo.
Right, yeah.
Like they're all just the goofy
I'd say this one, I think it was
constant quips.
It was a little the quips are so
we'll get to the
quips.
quips.
It's not that it's constant quips, because it was constant quips in the first one. Like every fight they were just throwing quips back and forth.
Yeah, but those were quips. These are quips.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get to the quips in a second. Let's talk about the characterization of the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite as bad
because I didn't finish 2 with you guys, so I'm not sure. But it felt less like Mikey in this than
they did
in the second one. They felt more like their own. Like they just felt more like maybe caricatures of themselves. Like all their their things were just kind of extremified.
It was like someone described what the turtles should be like, and they just got bored halfway through, and they went, I get it.
Well, it's
although they had an attempt to give Raph a little arc with the little kid with Yoshi. And that was kind of nice.
I think Raph and Mikey both had an arc.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Donatello and Leo were just kind of there for the rest of it.
Yeah,
I do agree with Dan though. Raph had more of an arc. He's like, he's.
I wanted to.
Sorry, I was just thinking about running away from this movie. Never looking back.
I thought you were combining the words Raph and Daniel.
Yeah,
that's also very possible. But like he had a little arc because he's the angry one who always wants to fight, and this kid goes, I'll fight these guys, and he goes, you're a tiny little child, you cannot do that. That would get you killed. And that's sort of his thing. He learns that not everything needs to be solved with violence, which is kind of he learns that every movie, but
he learns it as in he teaches a kid that and doesn't put it into practice. But I definitely get what you're saying.
This is a great.
We don't know that he didn't put it into practice because he said only fight when you have to, and so far in the context of all these movies, he's only fought when he's had to.
I guess it's true.
Like
except for the first one.
Sometimes in that he had to. He just went out looking for a reason to have to.
Right.
It's like that one Arthur meme where Arthur's sister's looking at the sign going, thank God this sign isn't for me.
Oh yeah,
what's her name? Like Double D, something like that.
Yeah, Dee Dee.
I don't.
Dee Dee, that's it. Also, I was just
Double D.
I was just in a bit
looking. That's like an Ed and Eddie character, which is also in the.
Right, the guy
he voices Raph, right?
Yeah, no, he did the body for Raph. Which is mildly weirder. The guy who voiced Ed in Ed, Ed and Eddie, the tall one who was stupid.
Ed, correct. Not Double D, yeah.
Yeah, Ed, not Double D, and not Ed. No, not Ed E.
Not, because there's just one Ed, and then there's Double D and Eddie.
Come
on, man.
My bad.
Get it together, man.
I haven't seen Ed, Ed and Eddie in a while. But the voice for him was the body guy for Raph in this movie, which is really weird.
See, when you first said that, I thought you meant the voice of Raph was the voice, because that made more sense.
That makes sense. No,
sounds like Ed.
But also, another weird thing is we said when we were watching it, Splinter sounds less like a racist caricature than he does in the first 2 movies, and that's because they got a different guy for it. But the first guy who voiced Splinter in 1 and 2. It's the fucking voice for Elmo for the last 20 years.
I think I remember hearing that.
Huh. I have no memory of hearing.
I have absolutely. I didn't know that at all. But yeah, the rest of the turtles all kind of blend into one, and by voice
Right.
alone, I could not tell the difference because they all just kind of sounded like they were making jokes at
I
each
guess
other.
that's kind of
The-
what I mean. It's not that they're all Mikey in this one, because
Mhm.
Mikey and Raph have their own little character arcs, but
Yeah.
Donnie and Leo, you really could have just given each of them
Yeah.
each other's lines and nobody would know.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of makes sense because
other
Leo,
than the few lines that Donnie has about technology, which is
Correct.
Yeah,
like
science,
two.
science mumbo jumbo.
right,
Yeah, he says I can't go that long without a chip.
right, which
Yeah,
I
because
guess
he likes computers, and microchips are in computers. Do you guys get it?
Leo is kind of the main character of the first one. He gets the arc there.
Mhm.
But really, no, I take that back. They
I mean, really Raph.
they
I
all
mean-
have an arc in the first one. Donnie's got
Yeah.
an arc, Mikey's got an arc, Leo, like they all have an arc in the first one, and nobody has an arc in the second one.
Mikey the least so of the first one though.
Yeah, except for all the deleted stuff, and when you know that,
Right,
you
well,
can like
yeah,
see
where-
it, and he's crying
yeah.
at Splinter, and they all have an
Right.
arc in the first one.
Yeah.
None of them have an arc in the second one, and then only half of them in this one. Let's get to the
The
one-liners.
movie doesn't have an arc in the second one.
That's true. Yeah. Let's
Let's get to the one-liners.
let's get to
I
the
think I
one-liners.
swallowed a frog.
I think I
hope
swallowed
it
a
wasn't one of my
frog.
ancestors.
I hope it wasn't an ancestor. That's like the first little quippy one-liner that I rolled my eyes at.
That's the first one you hear, and you start to realize that's going to be the whole movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
Yeah, that one I like. That's the one. Well, that's one of the two that.
I don't know if it counts as a one-liner, but there's that one where Donatello's like, "Hey, do you know that dung's actually a pretty good source of fuel?" And then Raph goes,
Yeah, no, that was not a one-liner, but I like that. Yeah.
I love that.
I
was
like,
great.
or I hate Mikey on his horse, and he's backwards, and he says, "What do you mean? Mine doesn't even have a head."
Okay,
I like that. I like that
one.
one.
I also like that one. Yeah. I lied.
There's Donnie's one-liner of, "What were you expecting? The Addams
That one.
family?"
So fucking stupid.
That's yeah.
Or what?
To be
What was the
fair,
other?
I
There
think
was the
that's most
Dirty
of
Harry one.
Oh yeah, he one of the guys points a pistol at him, and he goes, "You feel lucky?"
Not even. He was like pointing a cannon at
Yeah,
him.
it was a whole cannon. What else? There were more.
Admittedly, I don't think there's that much stuff that I didn't like. It's just the things I didn't like more than the other movies. Actually, no. Even then, like I didn't like them that much less than I like the other ones. This movie's better than two. So
This
I'll take
movie,
that.
I don't know that the movie's even
Yeah.
better than two. More happens in this one than in two.
I think it's better. I think there is an actual story with a conclusion. And admittedly,
That's true.
I'm basing this off of you guys. I didn't finish two, but from what I see, from what I heard, there was no conclusion to two. Like they didn't get the secret of the ooze, or they did, and it was just nothing. It wasn't anything.
Oh, okay.
But this,
I will say
it was-
this:
the titles were in time.
the
Even though that wasn't
titles
the name of the
didn't
which
movie.
is
most
not
of
the
the
name
time.
of the movie. The highs of two are very, very high, and the lows of two are very mid-range. But it stays mid-range for most of the movie, and there aren't many highs. The highs of this one are kind of on the high end of mid-range, but the lows are really low. So they're both very, very mediocre movies. But this stays more towards that higher end. There aren't too many like
I don't know.
super
that the
highs in this
lows-
movie.
I don't know if the lows are that much lower than the lows in two, though. Although I did only watch half
I
of
would
it.
say I would
But
say
that-
that
I
they
feel
are
like I
on par.
watched the worst half of it though.
Well,
and it wasn't
yeah.
the thing with two is there aren't that many lows. There's just a lot of
Hmm.
nothing's happening. This one there are a
Right.
lot of lows, but then there are some but it kind of coasts at this like this is okay
That-
point.
oh, that-
Whereas two
Yeah.
two does the opposite. It kind of coasts at this is super boring, and then it has some super awesome exciting stuff.
This
Right,
one
yeah.
kind of goes through like with two, it was bad, and boring. With this one, it's not that boring. So when it's bad, it loops back round to being funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more the opposite. Two, not that two is good. Two is not as bad, but it's more boring.
It's definitely more boring. This movie
Yeah.
had a lot going for it.
Yeah,
Do you wanna
this one is
talking about good
technically
things?
worse, but it's more enjoyable.
That's kind of where I'm at. And the
Yeah,
turtles look
yeah.
way worse, and they sound way worse, and I hate them way more. And their one-liners are
Correct.
way more horrible. But there's it coasts sort of at this okay point.
But it's still I don't, even though the turtles are maybe not characterized worse in this, but they sound and look worse in this than they did in 2.
Yeah.
They still feel
I'd
more
say they're
like the
characterized
Turtles.
almost just as bad, except for Raph and in some scenes Mikey.
But they feel more like the Turtles, and this feels more like a Turtles movie than Turtles 2.
That I'll concede to that.
Yeah.
So speaking of, we should probably talk about what actually happens in the movie.
Are we done? Well, before that, are we done with one-liners?
Yeah.
I mean, I can mention the Don King one. That's another one.
Yeah, Don King.
Yeah, but
The Don King one was great. I had to look up who Don King is. He was like a wrestling promoter. But there was a scene towards the end of the movie where the bad guy's hair is like burnt and poking up. And all frizzy looking. Yeah, it's Einstein, but it's
But instead of saying Einstein, they compare him to Don King.
There
was what did they say?
Was more comparable.
The Don King one's also more accurate.
It looks like it looked.
What did they say when they fell
hair.
in the poop?
He said, didn't they say he called me a piece of dung?
No,
because that was after, I think.
Well, yeah, I think it was right before, but yeah, I don't think that's what they said.
The dung thing was. Oh,
the
no,
dung thing was while they were breaking into the. But yeah, we'll get there in the plot. All right, yeah, Josh, take.
He eats a piece of shit. That's what I remember.
Yeah, well, they all do
the
poopy.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's all over their masks. The crazy expensive masks, those very expensive masks. There was poop all over it.
Right.
All right, Josh, the plot. Why don't you kick us off here?
The plot begins in 1603, which we find out through papyrus, the font.
Oh yeah, we're opening our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in 1603.
2000.
In 2000, this movie takes place in the future.
They went 10 years into the future.
We follow 4 samurai on horseback as they chase someone. Who ends up being a prince.
Four samurai who happen to be wearing they happen to be wearing armor that would fit a giant turtle.
Yeah.
When we were
for one of them it makes sense because bro is
dude
joinked,
is yoked.
But,
joints.
Yeah.
He's joinked. Yeah.
He's joined. We thought that these were the turtles, which I guess you're meant to because they look very turtle-like in their features.
Well, because they have like
3 hands.
Okay, I will say I don't. I don't know that you're meant to, because I think if you were meant to, they don't explain otherwise that it's not. I don't think you're meant to. I think we just jumped to that assumption because I think if you were meant to, they probably would have explained that they're not.
No, I think if a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie opens with 4 turtle-shaped characters but on horseback, the normal audience is going to think that that's the turtles.
Maybe. I think we're assuming they're turtle shaped because we knew that the turtles were going to go back in time to Japan when we were watching this movie.
But we didn't know that they were going to take over those clones.
People watching this movie would know that also, because I would assume that's people watching this movie would have seen
either way, this opening scene looks very cracked. They have like a sun set behind them.
Schumacher stole his Batman.
He stole the Batman. They're all silhouetted and it looks sick as hell.
They took the money that they were gonna spend on the costumes and spent it on this shot.
Correct. Yeah.
They put it on the 2-minute opener of 4 people chasing someone down and then kidnapping him essentially. And then we cut to the underground train station that the turtles moved into in 2, where they are all dancing and they're having fun. It's been 2 years since they killed Shredder. Or no, Shredder killed himself, I should say.
Do we know it's been 2 years?
Yeah, they make reference to it being like 2 years from then.
Do they?
I don't remember that at all. I think you're making that up based off of our conversation.
It's in the official synopsis. So
I think you're assuming that because it's 2 years after in IRL.
No, but it's not. It's only 1 year after in IRL. It's 2 years after they killed him in the dumpster.
I'm going off of
I forgot he killed himself in 2.
I'm going off of the official synopsis. So.
So you're cheating in this plot breakdown is what you're saying.
Yeah, because I had fun with the movie, but I couldn't remember most of it. because of my severe memory issues.
Right. Well, they're in the
They're in the train
sewer.
station. They're just
Train
having
station,
fun.
that's
They're
the one.
dancing.
They're doing a
you know,
crack dance where they go.
It should have been over the Turtles music.
Yeah,
They're doing
it's so
like
cool. And this
like
is why we need to switch to video podcast, Josh, so that
Yeah.
people watching can
Yeah,
understand.
they can see our
and we
They're
don't
doing
fart
like
crazy
dance.
people.
Yeah.
Josh, get a fucking webcam.
They're doing like a conga line thing. It's very correct.
Yeah, but it's not
Josh,
over the music.
How much money? Yeah, but Josh, how much money have you spent on Midjourney that you could have spent on getting a webcam so we can switch to a video podcast so we can vastly improve our quality?
$10.
Interesting that you've got over 300 prompts.
was
but anyway, so they're
last-
in the train station.
That was last year. That was a different me.
Right, my fault.
So April O'Neil's been out shopping, and she's got them all
shopping.
Yo,
she got them all a load of presents.
She's wearing like a 80s greaser outfit.
Yeah, she looks like she's cosplaying as Arnie from T2.
To the point where Josh
right.
didn't know that it was the same actress from the last movie.
Well, yeah, she's also changed
He didn't
her hair.
even register that it was April. He was like, "Who the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
He's like,
she
"Is
looks
this
like
supposed to be
completely new
April
woman.
O'Neil?"
She doesn't have red hair, which is how I identify April O'Neil.
Right, she's not wearing red hair or anything yellow.
But she also didn't have red hair in the last movie.
It was like a reddish brown.
It was like auburn.
Yeah, auburn.
It was the orb.
Who are pondering the orb?
She has gotten Mikey a lampshade, which he uses to do an Elvis impression.
There's a whole lamp, but yeah, the lampshade is the important part. And he goes, "Oh, I'm Elvis from Blue Hawaii."
She gives Donnie a broken radio. Leo gets
What a horrible gift! Here, have a broken radio. I know you like futuristic technology. Take a broken radio.
Fix it.
Yeah,
he can fix it. He likes fixing stuff.
Yeah, it works.
Makes sense.
I mean, it's better than Leo. Leo gets given a book on swords, which he already uses. What the fuck is he gonna do with that?
And about swords, man.
Raph is meant to be given a fedora, but he stormed off as per usual.
Which would work with his trench coat outfit.
Yeah.
Right. And then she goes, I also got this Japanese scepter that is like an authentic an authentic historical relic from a fucking pawn shop. This guy with a comb over sold it to me for $20. And then we cut back to the guy who was being kidnapped in the opening of the movie, who is the son of the son of the Lord of the Manor or whatever.
Daimyo is
the
Daimyo. Boba Fett from the
Boba Fett, yeah. And he's arguing with his dad
Fett from Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett from Boba Fett. The kidnapped guy is arguing with his dad, the Lord of the Manor. He's the prince. Because his father's like, you've brought shame on our family because you want to marry an outsider or whatever. Your usual conversation with your son. And
sure.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's this English guy who I think sells weapons to them, who comes in and just starts talking about how he wants a scepter, and he found a scepter, and it has the inscription of something that I can't remember. Something about the gates of time. I remember that much.
Yeah, it was something about time. This scepter, time.
Yeah, it was like this scepter can cause
into the future,
and you got to be the right weight.
The plot for the TMNT 3 movie.
Oh no, that was
it happened later.
Donnie, and that son,
the one guy, the son. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
So
he's talking to his son, saying
it.
His son is pathetic and a shame to his family. Blah blah blah. Then his son goes. How does the son get the scepter though? I don't remember.
The son
that.
just
it was in there. It was like being held by a mannequin.
Yeah. And he picks it up, and because April's is holding it in the future, a load of lightning shoots out, and they switch places.
Which just doesn't make any sense to me. It's been what, 600 years?
No, but they explained it because of the weight. Just
but nobody in 600 years has held this thing.
Not that was his same weight. No,
nobody in 400 years has been the same weight as this one guy. Oh, the only person is April O'Neil?
It ended up in a fucking New York pawn shop. The only people who've held it are fat people who sell it.
Yeah, it ended up in a New York.
no one in New York is the same weight as a feudal Japanese man.
What about someone else who held it after him 10 years in the future? It doesn't make we have to let it go because it doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't make any sense.
It makes enough sense.
It doesn't make enough sense.
It does. It makes enough sense for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Right,
it makes as much
Ninja
sense as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a concept.
Right.
At least that's explained.
And yeah, but
in a way that is believable if this universe existed.
It causes whoever's holding the scepter to switch places, and also clothes.
Let's remember clothes.
Sometimes,
and some items, because April ends up in the past in I can't remember his name, but the prince's clothes.
I think items they stick weapons back to them, and as they were leaving, the Japanese guys were grabbing the and stuff.
And that one guy tried to grab the TV, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
But so April ends up in feudal Japanese clothes in this guy's room, and people just scream when they see her, and they accuse her of being a witch until the English.
I would do that. I would do that today, and I don't believing in witches isn't commonplace. But if someone like if I went to go see my son and he was suddenly a white woman,
a white woman in my son's clothes with a Walkman,
right? Yeah, I think that lady's a witch too.
And they think she's a witch until the English guy who sells condoms goes, "Nah, she ain't a witch. That's a woman. You never seen a woman before." And then he says, "You should." What's the phrasing he uses?
Admittedly, she is one of two women in this entire movie. So
right.
Yeah, no, that is true.
The Lord is trying to figure out what to do with her, and he goes, "You should torture her and then kill her."
No,
and the Lord goes, "I will torture her."
What he says is, you can. He's like, "I want to get some information from her, and then you can toast her and do whatever you want with her body.
Roast and toast her and feed it to the birds."
He goes, "No, I want her to suffer."
Despite the fact that she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he thinks that she's done something with her son. Yeah. He thinks that she's responsible for her son disappearing, which she kind of is. She should have watched away. But the
what?
Oh wow,
man!
No, it's not her fault. She's an unlucky woman who is friends with turtles that get her into trouble.
She just has an eating disorder.
But so in the future, or I guess the present, there's now a Japanese man in a leather jacket and jeans who no one knows why he's there until Splinter talks to him and he faints before waking up again.
Which is a theme in these movies.
I think he faints immediately, as soon
because he sees them all.
No, he sees Splinter,
and then Splinter talks to him, and he goes, and he falls back.
Oh yeah, because he points at them and he says Kappa.
Then he wakes up and says Kappa, and they go, that means demon in Japanese.
Yeah.
And they figure out that they need to go back in time, and then Donnie says they've got 3 days or something, and then
60 hours.
Power, then the scepter's power disappears because the space-time continuum. It's like
3 days.
It's like when Marvel movies use quantum to just explain shit.
Right.
Why can't we just do this? Quantum science doesn't allow it.
The nanotechnology.
Yeah, the space-time continuum wouldn't allow that to happen.
Right. No, that is literally what he says.
Yeah.
Is that he said the space-time continuum will be out of balance.
And it's at this point that the best character in this entire franchise returns. Casey Jones, the man who hasn't been in since TMNT 1, but is still incredibly cracked.
Right, the man who missed the last movie, which is the way that to word that doesn't sound as odd.
Right? The man who was replaced with Kino in the last movie. And I don't mean the Greek word for cinema. I mean a little boy whose name was Kino.
I thought it was German.
It might be. I don't remember what I said, if I'm being honest.
I'm pretty sure it's German because there's a zombies map on cards that's called Kino.
Did I not say? What did I say?
You said the Greek word for cinema.
Yeah. No, I think it's Greek. Most words are Greek.
Either way, they bring him in. They bring him in to watch the guy, and I suppose that the guys that they will be replaced with when they time travel.
Yeah.
And to make sure they don't get into too much trouble, which is when they go back in time and they get placed on the 4 horses that we saw at the beginning of the movie. It all comes together. Screenwriting, people, screenwriting.
that's Kino right there.
That's Kino.
That's
the little
Kino.
Asian boy.
That's what Martin Scorsese meant.
Right.
If Martin Scorsese could see this movie, he would say it's
This is
cinema.
what Goncharov should have been.
What, do you think Martin Scorsese can't watch this movie? Is that the implication there?
I feel like
mean,
if you-
genuinely, no. I don't think Martin Scorsese could watch.
Yeah, you're
I feel
probably
like
right.
Martin-
Actually,
Look, if my
you were
father
to-
couldn't get through this movie, I don't think Martin Scorsese could.
if Martin Scorsese, if you went to him and watch, hey, why don't you watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles Through Time? He would go, who are you?
he would
Stop
say,
talking to me.
"What's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Tile?"
He would say, how did you get into the set of my movie? So they get placed on horseback in the armor that just perfectly fits Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle people.
And it's got it's
Correct,
crazy.
yeah.
It's got samurai helmets, and they're kind of like turtle-ish.
They're like, yeah, they're shaped like turtle heads.
It's got like a back support that would perfectly fit a turtle shell.
right.
with holes already cut for their weapons.
Right, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
And so 3 of them, Donnie, Leo, and Raph are riding the horses perfectly fine. And then Mikey, for some reason, is riding his horse backwards, which is when he says Dalton's favorite line in the movie, which is, "Why doesn't my horse have a head?"
I hate it so much. You can clearly see his tail.
Right, but you have to keep in mind he cannot see out of this because he's looking through a tiny
Right, and
slit.
Mikey,
Look at the tiny slit in his mask, which is huge.
which is not even that tiny. Yeah, well, no, it's normal size in this. It's in the
no.
fight scenes
When
that it's
they're on the
huge.
horse, I guarantee you they were wearing the small mat or the large
or the
eye
big ones.
masks.
Probably,
yeah.
yeah.
but
I
Mikey
just hadn't noticed yet.
Mikey is left holding the scepter, and he gets hit off his horse by a woman, and then taken to a village.
by one of the only 2 women in the.
The
But one of the
other
only
of the
2
2 women.
Yeah.
Guess, is it April O'Neil or someone else?
He gets taken by her to her village, while the other turtles go off in search of April to try and rescue
What about
her.
his village, huh?
He doesn't have a village. His village is a sewer.
No, I was kidding.
No, it's a train station.
Yeah.
Yeah, he upgraded. And this is also just coincidentally, as April is waiting inside this dungeon, they bring in a new prisoner who looks exactly like Casey Jones 400 years into the future.
I mean,
except he's got,
identical. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's crazy
It's
how much they look
uncanny.
alike. It's almost like they got the same actor to play both characters.
Yeah.
except in one of
almost.
them, he has a short hair and a beard, and the other one, he is clean shaven and has long hair. That's how you
Right.
differentiate.
And one
the
of
two.
them, he's wearing a wig.
In one of them, he's wearing a wig, and in the other one, he's wearing a fake beard.
I know it's
Right.
hard. I know it's hard for general audiences to discern the characters. The way you can tell it is one of them's wearing long hair, one of them's wearing short hair.
Oh, he's wearing it.
He's wearing short hair.
He is
Well,
wearing.
technically,
He is
no,
wearing
he
the
is.
long hair. Yeah.
And that isn't that when they bust in and rescue April, while all of these other prisoners who have been here for months and have been starved and tortured and God knows what's happened to them, watch as this one woman and this one guy who have been there for less than a day get rescued and escape out of this hellhole.
Yeah, and they escape
yeah.
through a styrofoam hole in the floor.
And they
Yeah.
get thrown into a pile of little shit that they eat.
A pile of manure
call-
that's in their
they
mouths.
call the guy Fatso-san.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was the I think that was the evil guy.
I think they said it later, but it definitely was the guy here.
Yeah.
He's the guy they kept calling fat.
Right,
Right, yeah. But
dungeon
then he locked himself in the cage.
Yeah.
after he saw them beat up all his guys. That was pretty funny. I like
So
that.
in the
Oh, yeah.
sewer, April tries to pick up Donatello, who falls, and that's when he says, "Help! I'm a turtle and I can't get up."
It's funny because he was on his back, and when a title's on its back, he can't get up because of his shell.
They don't have like any...
You ever seen a turtle like flipped over, like wriggling around and can't get up? It's just like that because he's a turtle.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. you probably don't understand it. That's why you're not laughing.
it's a bit too
to be
highbrow.
fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Turtles 3.
Turtles 3. Turtles in Time, but that's not the actual title.
Right.
In
Yeah.
a trench coat.
So then the Turtles, April, and not Casey Jones end up in the woods, like outside of the castle, because they escaped, and they just so happen to also be attacked here by people.
Yeah.
And
But
this is
before
when,
that, this is when we get.
this is when we realize that the people inside the turtles can actually move this time, so the stunts.
Well, no, we realized that at the
I
beginning.
realized that in the
yeah.
first scene because they were doing all those little jumps and stuff. No, you realize that right away.
I also love
it
that
becomes more obvious.
I love that normally if we called a character not Casey Jones, it would be because they sort of look like Casey Jones but
Yeah.
aren't that actor. But in this
Right.
context, it's the exact same actor in the movie.
He's just playing not Casey Jones.
Casey Jones' entire bloodline is made up of like people with good hearts who are kind of brash and violent and get into horrible situations.
Right.
But yeah, they start fighting all these guys, and then one of them unmasks Raph, and they realize it's the exact same model as the thing that's waiting in their village for them. And they go, oh, they're the same person because they all look exactly the same because they've all had the same rubber
Right,
suit
but
made for
before
them.
that, in that scene, we get the first glimpse of Raph's little semi character arc in him appreciating nature. We get a Raph nature appreciation arc,
And
That
he's
was
like,
kinda fun.
hey, you see this? You see this here?
It's just
No tires, no beer cans. It's just water. But we did it in the voice from Raph from the first movie, not
Yeah.
Raph in either of the subsequent
No,
movies.
right.
Although,
Although,
in this
admittedly,
movie sounds even more like a Brooklyn guy.
Right. Yeah, we probably ended up sounding more like Raph and because we are not doing a good Brooklyn accent.
Look, there's no
Tires.
trash, there's
no
no
tires.
beer cans, there's just water. And then I think, and then Donnie skips a rock, and Josh says, "You can't skip a rock like that. That rock would never skip." But he just skips it like a normal person would skip a rock.
No, he fucking throws it overhand. You're not skipping a rock overhand.
He threw it sideways like you'd skip a rock.
And you
He
know,
did
you do
not.
skip a rock kind of overhand.
No,
It's
you
like,
go-
It's
you go
overhand at
sides.
but it's from an overhand thing. Like you start up here, and then you it's a little curveball. You put a little
No,
mustard on it.
You throw it
put
the
a
same.
little mustard on it, Josh. You
you-
put a little mustard on
You
it.
throw
You
it the
throw it
same way
sideways
you
like
throw
a
a
Beyblade.
frisbee.
Yeah.
You throw it sideways like a Beyblade.
You don't throw Beyblades. You let them rip.
Yeah, but the same motion but reversed is how you do it.
But you do it with a machine.
Motion if it's reversed, then.
With a you go like this with a Beyblade.
Yeah, you pull it. It's like, what are you talking about?
Josh has never skipped a rock before in his life.
Josh tries to gatekeep something he's never done.
Impossible.
So Raph appreciates nature. The villagers realize that
Nice,
they're
the same person.
Kappa.
That Kappa.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, why don't you come back to our village? You can see your friend or whatever. And they go back, and the village is being burnt to the ground by the English warmonger.
Yeah.
And
No, Jeff Bridges from Iron Man.
He kind of looks like the guy who plays Dr. Kelso in Scrubs, but younger.
He kind of looks like the bad guy from Legend of Zorro.
He kind of looks like the bad guy from Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, but that's not its actual title.
Right, in a trench coat.
They go to the village. They fight off all the people.
I can't wait
and
for the
then-
sweep to be over. So we can quit making that joke.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for next week.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Mikey-
Don't spoil.
Mikey gets freed, and they all fight the people out of the village. And then Mikey jumps into a burning building to save Yoshi. Not
Yeah,
the
then
not the
Mikey-
dinosaur from Mario,
right.
but a small Asian child.
Yeah, Mikey inspires Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. But in a much
Yeah.
worsely done scene because you don't actually
Right.
see inside the building. You just see Mikey kick down the door and he's got the generic mask face with the huge eye holes. This was the first scene I noticed it in. So
They get Yoshi out, and then Leo has to give him CPR. And there's no way that Turtle's giving him CPR because
Yeah.
just it's not happening. Yoshi is dead. And the last thing
because
he
he's
saw,
got big fat turtle lips.
Yeah, the
Right.
last thing he saw was a big fat rubber turtle head looking over him and watching him. But no, in the context of the movie, I guess he survives. And by doing this, the villagers go, "Oh, I guess we could trust them." You know, they saved.
Well,
a
no,
small...
they don't just suddenly trust them. They bow down to them.
Yeah, like
They
gods.
worship them.
Look, what? Yeah, first Donnie says, hopefully now they'll stop being scared of us. Then they bow down to them, and he says, "Well, that's a start."
Oh yeah, that was
isn't,
another
like,
one of the lines
so
I hated.
That's like so many steps above not being scared is revering you as a god.
They also try to stop Leo from doing CPR, and they say like it's
Yeah,
a
they
magic
say he's
trick.
casting an evil spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he knelt down and just tried to look at him for a second.
Right. Yeah, but that's how you cast.
I mean,
an
he
evil spell, is by
admittedly
kneeling
he's a
down like
giant
that.
turtle, so
Right.
I don't really blame them for thinking anything
They-
out
they
of the
do-
ordinary like that.
They do call him pizza. They called him demons.
Yeah.
Correct. They call him pizza.
They call him pizza.
Josh, what?
Josh, where are you going, bro?
I was just thinking about the pizza I was eating, and I was like, I was having a good time with this, and then I got like ripped back to reality where I was watching Turtles 3.
Yeah.
Then in the next scene, Donnie just goes, "Oh, we'll just make another scepter, easy." And they do in like 5 minutes. They just build another one.
No, that was a pretty fun line because they're like doing like they're sketching the scepter in like dirt. April comes over and she's like, tell me you're not gonna try and build this. And Donnie's like, no, of course not.
We're gonna have that guy do it. Yeah, and they
And
point to the blacksmith.
He points to the most joints looking dude ever.
This is when I coined the phrase joint.
Yeah, this is when Dalton invented the word joint to just.
So I should pause for just a second, and we don't have to go back to this, but throughout the whole time that this is happening, we're jumping back to modern day where Casey Jones is babysitting the rest of the Japanese men. They've watched hockey at this point.
The Japanese honor guards is what put some respect on their name.
They've played hockey, they've watched hockey, they've eaten a bunch of snacks, they've gone to a bar.
They've thrown snacks at the TV.
Oh, correct. And we don't have to go back to them.
American stuff.
Like we don't have to go back to them in our breakdown.
I do want to just shout out the one
time.
time. I want to shout out the one time where he tries to teach them hockey, and he's like, "Okay, let's play," and then they just start fighting.
Yeah, because he says, "Do what you saw on TV." So they just start beating the shit out of each other. Yeah,
it's very correct. Then back in 1602, what they did? Donnie's making the scepter. Oh, Mikey tries to make.
Oh yeah, he
pizza.
tries making a pizza, and then it
he
burns. So
it.
he says,
and he goes,
"Frisbee."
And he throws it. He throws it at the fucking the joint blacksmith.
Man.
And who like gives the dirtiest stare I've ever seen to Donatello because he thinks he just fucking hit him on the back or something.
And he beats him. He like not beats him, but he like attacks him. He lunges at him at least.
he I think he just like smacks him or something.
Yeah,
but
smacks him around a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, this is also when we find out that the woman who kidnapped Mikey earlier and who recognized that they were all related is married to the first guy that came back, the prince. This is the woman that his father is disapproving of.
Yeah.
And so Mikey tries to console her, and you know,
He's got Riz.
This is also when Raph talks to Yoshi and it's like, "Hey, don't fight people. You are 8 years old. Leave it to me.
Yeah,
I'll kill them.
I'm a teenager,
maybe 18 or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm maybe 10
like,
years old."
He has like a little arc with him where he teaches him how to control his temper, and he goes, "I don't need to use that, luckily."
Right.
Yeah, that's basically Raph's arc in this movie.
And then Splinter's worried because he's like, you know, time's running out, and they might not get back in time, and they'll be stuck in 1602.
They might be turtles stuck in time, you know.
They might be Turtles 3 stuck in time.
Right.
They end up getting the replica scepter like built and completed, but then they break it like 5 seconds afterwards because Mikey and Raph kind of want to stay, but they don't want to tell them that yet.
Did they break it?
No, they have an argument that breaks it a little bit. Yeah,
I don't remember that.
I
whatsoever. That is nowhere in my brain.
That's part that I actually do remember.
We have vastly different memories of Turtles.
So wait, the replica one they broke?
I didn't think they broke the replica.
Yeah, they broke the replica one, which is why when Raph visits Yoshi in the next scene, he shows him the actual one.
Well, I mean, I knew that, but Yoshi didn't know
Yeah, I
about the
remember that, but I
replicas,
don't.
so
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you're right, and you're not just making this up.
yeah, because I'm
But
sure you're
I have
reading
no
this
memory
off
of
of the
that.
official like plot breakdown.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess move on.
So is that something you remember from the movie though, Josh, or are you just basing this off of the
no,
plot?
I have vague memory.
You
Do
you
have,
what?
do you have a vague memory that you formed in your head because you read it and then you tricked
Well,
your
no,
brain
no,
into thinking you saw it?
now you're going into the psychology of my mind, and that's somewhere that no one wants to go.
Right.
Okay, cool.
I-
Just move on. It's
Yeah.
just go.
Either way, they have a scepter. They have a scepter that works. That's all you need to know. And they're like, okay, let's go back in time then. But the village like pleads with them and goes, can you fight on our behalf, because otherwise these people are going to come and they are going to kill us all. They've already tried. And they're like, yeah, I guess so.
No, they say
Uh,
no, but what's her face gets kidnapped.
Well,
And they were mad at her for
Casey
lying
Jones-
to them about the
they're mad at
scepter.
her- Yeah, they're mad at her.
Well,
for
yeah,
the
they
scepter.
think that she's the one that hid the scepter. Then some old comes in and says, "No,
It's
it
her
was me.
dad, right?
I wanted you to."
Yeah, it's
maybe,
her
yeah.
dad. They're like the leader of the village.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when not Casey Jones turns evil and kidnaps her and the scepter
Mhm.
and goes to the Lord's palace to like turn them in or whatever. So the turtles
right.
follow and they go to rescue her, which they do pretty quickly. They just kind of walk in and it's more or less done at that point.
Yeah, and that's when
Right.
Donnie says, "What were you expecting? The Addams family?" And I hated it.
Yeah. There was also a possible implication that I think we've already passed this, but it showed the painting again at this point that the turtles at some point in the
there's
future will go back in time
Yeah,
even
there's a
further and
scroll.
fight a past version of Shredder, or maybe it's just some other samurai who looks
There's-
exactly like Shredder.
Or maybe
But-
it's a prophecy that's at random and it's not actually supposed to be the
Mm.
turtles traveling further.
Yeah,
Like
it could have been, but I thought they said it was an old legend.
Well, they
But
did,
I guess
but
old legend can be prophecy.
yeah,
but
that's kind of how I took it. But it could be
Right,
either.
right.
It could be they legitimately went back further, or
Mhm.
they didn't.
They don't.
Which
really
it's
touch
probably
on it.
glad that they
I-
don't touch on anymore, because then turtles just would have become like a time travel gimmick,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially in the
it's just-
movies if they did more.
It's just
Mhm.
kind of weird because they draw attention to it once at the start and then they do it again just before this fight scene where they put out the scroll that has them.
Yeah,
like,
which
Well,
is
there's three times they show it. They show it before Prince's son goes to the future and swaps with April. He's like
Princeton.
looking
That's
at
a
it.
school.
Princeton, yeah. Then Daimyo and like one of his body, or I think it's evil British man are looking at it together, and that's when you see the shredder, or maybe not the shredder.
We're not
And
really
then
sure.
then there's the Addams family scene where they're also looking at it.
Right. And once again, it could have been like some ancient prophecy or whatever that they didn't
Right.
actually go back in time, because it
Yeah.
looks like them, but it doesn't have
It
his
was
mask.
cracked art, is
Yeah.
what it was. Like it
Well,
looks
and
really
even
cool.
even in the movie, I think Raph says like, "Well, that one kind of looks like me, but he's got Leo's beak or something."
No, I think it was Donnie that said it was definitely Raph's beak.
Yeah,
because they
you're right.
mentioned Raph's beak. Raph's having a beak.
Yeah,
was a
I think it was
setup
just
of
like one
something.
of those.
I don't know.
I think it's just. one of
Oh
those,
yeah,
like,
that's from
prophecies.
earlier when Donnie goes, "Turtles don't migrate, birds
Right.
do," and he goes, "Well,
Right,
I
he
got
goes,
a beak,
got a
don't
beak."
I think it's just meant to be like a generic sort of prophecy scroll. you know?
Yeah, that's kind of
Right. Yeah.
probably.
Like,
All right,
like,
move
it's
on.
just at some point-
We're here
at-
too
at
long.
some
Move
point-
on. Move on. Move on.
Mhm.
Right, yeah. So they go and they have a giant fight scene where they fight all the Lord's men on his grounds, and you get the only time there's ever an actual sword fight in any of these movies when Leo
Yeah.
fights the Lord himself, and it's pretty
Right.
great.
And it's barely a sword fight. It's shot reverse shot between them, and just the swords like.
Oh, we
clinking
forgot
in
about the shot
same two
earlier where it's
positions.
Splinter and they didn't record enough footage for the dialogue, so they have to
Yeah.
reverse it. It's like,
Yeah.
Or the other cracked one where there's like a rat in the past that they zoom in
that
on.
one
no,
was-
that
that
one's
was
good. We were
honestly
making fun of
hard.
the other one. All right, so they
Yeah.
drop a bell on Daimyo's head,
Mhm.
and then
Well,
they think
yeah,
he's
no,
defeated.
no.
White
Leo,
bad guy.
Leo goes to do the thing where like you
Oh yeah,
put
he
two
draws the
swords
line in
across
the
from each other,
sand.
Yeah, and he cuts his hair off. Yeah.
and then he goes to
he
like
does
decapitate
the
him,
Anakin,
and he chops off his little ponytail, and he goes, "Got you, dude." And then
that
then
was
he-
cracked. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah. All
Then
right, so
he,
they drop a bell
he-
on his head, and then evil white guy grabs a cannon, tries to shoot the
Mhm.
turtles, but Leo like does the head in the shell thing, which was really
yeah,
cool
he
in the
sticks
first
his head
movie,
into
but
a
has
shell.
gotten a little less cool every time it's happened.
Right.
and then
I'm
then
just trying
when-
to speed
when-
this along. Keep it going.
when he does that, that's when the guy pokes his head out of there, and he's got like blown up hair, and they go,
That's when
"Hey, Don King."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only good reference in this.
then the evil English war guy, he's like, okay, screw it, I'm just going to escape, and he like runs off to the wall where he's looking over the ocean. I guess he's trying to wait for a boat or something to.
No,
pass by that
there's a rope there. He's gonna climb down,
Mhm.
Right,
but
yeah.
and so he climbs down it a little bit.
And he
and
has
then
the scepter at this point.
yes,
Right?
well, no,
Yes.
he loses the scepter.
No?
He is when he grabs the rope. He loses
Yeah.
the scepter. The turtles grab it. He goes to climb down the rope, but he can't. So he climbs back up to grab his bird, or he forgets his birds, and then he climbs back up to grab his
little bird
birds,
cage.
and then
And then
not
once he
Casey
grabs his birds,
Jones launches
who stood again.
launches a cannon at him. He's a good guy now, and then he falls into the ocean, and he looks like
And
the
well,
same
no.
size all the way down, and it's a bad
Oh,
green
it's
screen.
so funny.
And then he just like
So funny.
it's
He
it's
just,
like
like,
a circle
disappears.
wipe. It's like a Star Wars
Yeah.
circle wipe
literally.
in on his body as if he's
It's
going in the
so
water.
funny.
And he's way too big for like the rocks that
Yeah.
you see at the bottom. Like it's such a bad. It's the worst effect in the movie, and that's saying a lot given how
It's
bad the
saying
turtles
so
look.
much.
He legitimately, he unironically blinks out of existence. Like
Yeah.
Like straight up.
there's no like splash or anything. He just falls and
No,
falls
he
and falls,
just
and
he
then
just
they go.
he
"Fuck."
just disappears.
They
Yeah.
couldn't have like filmed water moving and like chroma keyed it over the top, set it to screen.
or just not even show that. Just,
Yeah,
just have him fall
don't
off and
show
just-
it.
It's implied that he's dead now. Like
I guess
that's
they had
enough.
to show it because this is after Die Hard.
This is off the Die
I've
Hard.
not seen Die Hard. I don't get the reference.
The bad
I
guy
thought
at the end
that's
of
what
Die
it-
Hard falls off of the a building into the water,
Oh.
and it looks like that, but not as bad.
Spoilers
Right,
for
right.
a 40-year-old movie.
Right.
Come on, man! I was just
Um,
about to watch that.
And then all the turtles like they get the sets together. How do the present people know to get this? I guess it starts like getting.
It's
active
well, it's
or
it's
whatever.
on a
Well,
time
first-
loop. Remember?
First, well,
Yeah,
no, first,
yeah, but they know at the exact moment.
Princeton is he's getting anxious and impatient because he misses his wife.
Yeah.
So he grabs it and then it starts glowing. Splinter's like, no, it's not ready yet.
No.
When you need
it
the
is
other
not
ones, you have
ready
to all go back together. Yeah, I was trying to avoid doing the
was trying to avoid
stereotypical
doing the
Asian
stereotypical
character accent.
Asian face.
But yeah,
Oh yeah, and then the turtles are all trying to get together, but Raph and Mikey are like, actually, I kind of want to stay. Like, it's nice here.
Mhm.
And eventually, they win them over by just going, yeah, but what if you didn't? And,
right.
I guess you're right. Well, except for Mikey, who is talking to the woman, and he's like, hey, I kind of love you. And she's like, I have a husband.
Yeah.
It's not
child."
that. He doesn't say I kind of love you. He says I want to stay here, and she's like, no.
She's like,
No.
I want my husband back. And that's when we all at the same time in synchronization remembered that they have to
We're like,
swap
"Oh,
places.
yeah."
Like, oh, so they literally can't stay. Like that
Yeah.
it makes so much sense now.
I mean, not they could have. They could have. Only April had to us back.
right.
I'm sure those Japanese honor guards would have loved City. They were having a
but the
blast.
problem is you don't know who's coming back. So if Mikey, Raph, and April
Yeah.
Mikey, or if Leo and Donnie and April are grabbing the staff, you don't know which of the people from the future are going to come back. It's just going to randomize the weights.
It would be the ones that weigh the same as them.
Yeah, but I think it's that they all weighed the same. I'd say the weight thing is all together, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
The weight thing is stupid. The weight thing is dumb.
The weight thing is very silly.
Especially when
thing.
it would make some sense if it were just April weighed the same as this guy, which still doesn't make any sense. But then you factor in the fact that these 4 random dudes weigh as much as giant turtles.
Right.
But
These turtles have to weigh at least 400 pounds apiece.
One of these guys definitely could weigh that much.
He doesn't weigh 400 pounds. He's joint.
Dude is kind of joint. He might.
He's not 400 pounds joint.
He might be. He looks like 400 pounds of muscle. I don't know.
The turtles realize that they need to go back, so they all hold the scepter, and then they all switch places except for one of them. They're like, "Hey, where's Mikey?" And they turn around, and one of the Asian guys is still there, and he tries to run and escape back to the bar that he was at because he's having.
He's running away, and he's holding the scepter. And in the past, like Mikey had been like an inch away from touching the scepter, and then he goes up into the upper above world, and then you see a bright flash of light, and we all thought that this
it was going to be the hardest movie ending of all time. Like they were going to pull an Evil Dead 3 and transport them to another dimension or something.
We gave this movie way too much credit.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
then Mikey comes down and he's
Mikey does what?
Yeah. Whoa, hey. He was doing what to a decision?
and then he comes down, and they all start doing the conga line dance again as the credit music plays, and it's cracked.
Right, and then it shows a scene in the past where the Japanese honor guards have one of them has the goofy pants that he got from Mikey. The others just have their normal.
Right, that's something that we never mentioned is that when they realized that you will swap clothes, Mikey put on a pair of of shorts.
Well, no, they didn't
realize that.
No,
Mikey was just wearing them.
He's goofy.
Yeah.
I thought Mikey realized it. He was like, "Oh, I want my guy to have."
No, you once again gave this money too much credit.
Why would you think that? Why would that be how you process that scene happening?
You gave this movie too much credit.
Well, yeah.
You gave Mikey too much credit.
No, that's a Mikey thing. Mikey be caring of someone's drip.
Yeah, no, I guess that's true. The clothes thing is inconsistent. There's another cool lighting change when Princeton goes to smooch his wife. That was cute and sweet, and I liked it. Then movie's over. Splinter makes another funny because he's got the lampshade on his head, and he goes,
"I am Elvis Presley in Blue Hawaii."
Mikey's sad he misses the past and his Asian waifu, so he's like, I don't think I'm ever
his
gonna...
braless wife.
Yeah, he misses Chinese ninja. So he's like, I don't think I'll ever be happy or smile or laugh again. And then it just cuts to Splinter goes, "Yo, dude."
Yeah.
And it cuts to him with the the lampshade on.
Mikey's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'll ever laugh again." And then he's got the lampshade on, and he's like, "I'm doing the Elvis."
Right. But more importantly, he says, "Yo, dude."
And then but Mikey laughs for so long and so creepily. He's like, "Huh? Dude. Yo, dude." And then they do the turtle dance, and it cuts to credits. But it never goes.
It never once does it go. I know that because I didn't Josh's dance that he stole from Always Sunny.
Yeah, but it does have Mikey going, "Yo, dude," which is how he laughs in this movie, and it's stupid. All right, final thoughts. All in all, this movie's not nearly as good as the first one. I'll probably never watch this movie ever again. I do prefer it over the second one, but that's not saying a lot because I hate both of
never
these.
Again. I can see myself watching 10 years maybe.
This is a good bad movie. This is actually, I take that back. This is a great bad movie because it's not boring. It's very interesting. It keeps you in. There's a lot to laugh at.
The one thing, I did not realize when we got to the last 20 minutes how close we were. I thought we were
very
60
entertaining.
minutes in.
We checked the time
Yeah.
twice. The first time I thought we were like 10 minutes in and we were a half hour.
Yeah, it was like
the second time, like I had no idea it was the ending and there were only 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
The movie goes by very quickly. It's great as a bad movie because there's lots of stuff to like point out and laugh at, and the suits are bad, and the mask eye holes are hilarious, and
Yeah.
like the special, like there's all kinds of funny stuff to laugh at in this movie, much less so in the second one. So it is a good bad movie. If you enjoy like sitting with your friends and watching bad movies, Turtles in Time is a great one for that. If you want to sit and watch a Ninja Turtles movie, I would recommend any other one other than this one and the second one. But I'd also be curious as to if I watch the second one by myself and this one by myself, which one would be more interesting? Because I think probably the second one, because I'm not, when I'm by myself, I'm not laughing at those bad movie
you
moments.
don't enjoy bad movie
So
stuff
like
as
I
much
don't
alone.
so I don't know. I really don't know. Both of them are bad.
Yeah.
I would never recommend either of the second two of the Ninja Turtles movies.
I will definitely never watch either of the second two Ninja Turtle movies alone.
Right.
There is a possibility I will watch them at some point within like 10 years. I can see myself rewatching all these movies.
Right.
Probably the first one within like a year. I'm gonna rewatch it.
Yeah, no, the first one's on a regular rotation for me. It's one of my comfort movies. I watch it all the time just because I love it. The second two are bad.
These three movies are like three entirely different movies in that the first one's a good movie.
They're three
The second
entirely
one's a
different
bad,
franchises.
Yeah.
The second one is a bad movie, and this one is a good bad movie.
Right. I still think this one's worse than the second one. The second one is just way more boring.
I think first one is a good movie. Second one,
first one's a great movie.
First one is a good movie. Second one is a bad good movie. Third one is a good bad movie.
I like that. I would agree.
Yeah. I think that's apt.
But yeah, no, don't watch this unless you got a group of friends and you just want to laugh at a movie. Josh, thoughts?
No, like Dan said, basically.
Yeah.
This movie is a lot of fun to watch. And the stunts in it were actually cool, and they weren't just people standing there while everyone else runs into a turtle and then falls back off.
Right. And they use their weapons in this.
They do.
Of.
I mean, I wouldn't even say kinda. They straight up do. There's a whole sword fight.
Yeah, there is a sword fight. I mean, I don't know.
They have their weapons in their hands at the very least.
Raph didn't really use. I didn't see one cool nunchuck thing, and Raph. He only ever hit his size together. He never hit anyone with it.
That's
Maybe
true.
He clinked against some.
I think he
swords with
blocked
them,
some stuff with it later
probably,
on.
Yeah, he probably like blocked some swords and stuff. But there was no nunchuck stuff in this. The only time I even saw a nunchuck was when Mikey handed one of his nunchucks to his waifu at the end.
Right. All right, so I guess that's it for this episode of Turtle Sweep. We've got one more thing that we're going to be doing, and we're going to go ahead and announce this now. So kind of the new structure of the podcast is we're going to watch a few movies in a series and then try to find a knockoff of those movies. And so next week's knockoff, we're going to be watching Warriors of Virtue, which is a movie from 1997, which is a knockoff of the Ninja Turtles, but they are all karate kangaroos. I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested. I don't know what's going to happen. I've never heard of this movie, much less seen it. So I'm very excited. But we got
no doubt I will enjoy that movie more than at least one of the Titles movies.
That is probably true. All right, see you guys next week. This is us signing off. See you on the very next episode of Semi Pro.